Welcome to Elden Ring. We're going to do a short video today that is not Dragon Age. We're going to do Elden Ring since it won Game of the Year at the Game Awards last night. For those of you who haven't taken a look at the game, I would highly recommend it. It is a gorgeous game. It is available on all platforms, PC, PlayStation 4 and 5, Xbox One, and Series S and X. I have played it on the Xbox One and the Series X, and both of them play flawlessly. Either one is really good. It has an ESRB rating for mature 17 plus for blood and gore, language and suggestive themes, and violence. Those are guides. That's all I really want to say about that. I mean, it is... This game, as you can see, I'm going into the menu. You can turn off the display of blood. You can block matchmaking, disable it, restrict voice chat. There's a lot of things settings-wise that you can do to make this game a little bit safer if you have someone that's a little bit younger that you want that wants to play it. I'm going to give you the information that you can use to make the decision whether or not you want your family members to play this game or you want to play it. What you really want to be prepared for when you play this game is that there's no difficulty setting. You cannot change it to easy difficulty. It is an extremely hard game to play. I recommend very early on just leveling up your character as much as you can before you even attempt to fight the first main boss. If not, it's going to be a rage fest for you. All you're going to do is sit and scream and throw your controller because it is one of the most difficult games that I've ever played in my life. I'm not used to Souls games. This is the first one that I've ever played. So it was completely new to me. And when I first went into it, I died a lot. A lot. That's an understatement. Which is why you're not seeing this game on the channel, because it would be just me dying constantly, which is extremely frustrating, not only to watch, but also to be a victim of. But that aside, it doesn't have a journal or any kind of guide other than these sites of grace to guide you on your path as far as where you're supposed to go in the game. So quest lines, you kind of have to just remember when you talk to the NPCs in the game, you have to remember what they're asking you to do for their quest, and then go out and do those quest lines. And, you know, keeping a little side journal and a little notebook is helpful. But that is one of the things that this game does not have. It's been my biggest complaint since I started the game, is that I really would have liked to have gotten into the lore a little bit more, and the actual actually have a guide to tell me where to go next. So there's not that. So if you're looking for that, it's going to be a challenge. But other than that, the game is extraordinary. It deserved Game of the Year, I think. Personal opinion. And the reason I say that, and God of War Ragnarok is an absolutely fabulous game too. It was also nominated and one of several. But it was a PlayStation exclusive game. And this game is available to everyone. So I think that really was the edge that I felt that it needed to get Game of the Year. So if you want Game of the Year, make it available on all platforms. Not everybody has a PlayStation. Not everybody has an Xbox. Not everybody has a PC. So you've got to make it available, if you can, to everyone for the game to be the best. All right, that said, that off my chest, I'm going to just kind of do a little tour so you can see the game. I'll show you some of the blood and gore that they say that's in the game. I'm not convinced that it's extreme. There are some instances, obviously, of dismemberment, arms and legs hanging from the ceiling kind of thing in a room. When you look at the ESRB rating, it does say that there's a curse word in the game. It is a very mild curse word. It's probably in one of the NPC discussions that goes on in the game. I haven't seen it yet. It's not horrible. And it's not every other word. For the most part, this game is pretty mild when it comes to the language. The gore and the blood, yeah. I mean, it's a typical, you know, dragon-type fighting game. You're going to have not only human characters, like knights and things to kill, but also your mythical characters and magical characters, such as your dragons. You have bats. You have other creatures to fight. So there's all different kinds of enemies. Some of them are extremely difficult to take out. Some of them are pretty easy, even from the beginning. So you just kind of have to get these guys here in this area. If you're not leveled up, don't even attempt to go over to them. They can still take me out in 2 hits. So they're extremely powerful. It makes you a little more tactical in the game, I think. I do a lot of sneaking around enemies that I know are higher level. I will sneak up from behind and do an attack. Okay, so without anything further, I am going to fast forward to the area where you're going to first land in the game to show you that, and I'll be back in a moment. Alright, one of the first areas that you're going to come to is this little area. It's a stranded graveyard, and you're going to want to drop down into this hole, and they are going to basically give you guidance on the gameplay mechanics. So it's a little bit of a tutorial. Once you come out of that, you're going to come up here to an elevator that's going to take you up into your first view of the world. You're going to want to hit this grace here. That's a site that you rest at. I'll go ahead and rest at it so you can see. Basically, if you rest at a site of grace, it de-aggroes all the enemies. And so it's kind of your safe space. So if you have any enemies chasing you, get to a site of grace as quickly as possible. The little ghost thing that you saw right there, that is another player in another world. They're not in your game, but you are going to see them occasionally in the game. It's just so that you can see what other players are doing. But don't worry, they are not in your game. They're not going to hurt you. At least not if you have matchmaking turned off. If you want to play the PvP, it's awesome, but you don't have to. You can completely shut that off. There is a quest line that involves doing some of the PvP. You do not have to do that quest line if you don't want to. This is the first area that you come to when you arrive in Elden Ring, and it's gorgeous. This is the kind of stuff that you're going to see in all the different areas. Every area, I should say, is different. Different enemies. The bloodstains on the ground are players that have died. There is, when you first come in, a very large enemy here. Kind of trolls this path. And he's a knight. And I don't recommend trying to take him out. At least not when you're brand new. I would completely avoid him. You can touch the bloodstain and see how the player died. So you're going to see those bloodstains all over the place, and that's when other players in other worlds have succumbed to the enemies. Basically, you're not going to have a horse like I do when you first land. You have to get the horse along the quest line, but you get him very soon. But you're going to want to sneak over around the night and come up here to the church, which is like one of the very first sites that you come to, and hit the grace there so that you can pause. Just kind of wandering around here. So that's the church. We did pass it. There's a merchant there that sells items, and obviously a grace where you can sit and rest. There are a lot of different guides on the internet already on how to play this game. Some of them are really, really good. And that did help me when I first started playing this game, was to watch other players and see what they're doing. Seeing how I've never played a Souls game before, that was really important. I died an awful lot when I first started. You see bloodstains back there, and this guy really isn't that hard to kill. But when you're brand new in the game, yeah. So you spend a lot of time collecting resources in the game, leveling up before you even face any of the enemies. You can kill the wildlife because they give items, crafting items for you that you need to make other items that you need in the game. This is one of the caves. There are several dungeons and caves and along the way, and each one is different. So those are the kind of the knights and things that you'll end up having to kill. That is as much blood and gore as you're going to see off of those hits, and that's with gore enabled, with the blood enabled. Okay, let's head to another area. So the map is really big. I have not unlocked all of it. I'm still kind of making my way around. I have beat the first boss in the castle. In Stormvale Castle, you're going to have Margit, the Fell Omen. That's the very first major boss that you're going to have. Extremely frustrating if you're not leveled up. Actually, let's go to Stormvale so you can see the castle. The castles are beautiful. There's tons of things to explore. I've gone through it a couple of times, still finding things that I have missed. The enemies do respawn here after you kill them, so you're going to always have to keep going back and killing the enemies that were there if you decide you want to rest at a grace and then go back. Every time you rest at a grace, the enemies respawn that you've killed. So there's just lots of places that you can explore. Again, you're going to see other players and how they're attacking the enemies. And this little path will take you back to the main entrance where we just were. At one point I was running along the edges of some of the towers. That was a lot of fun, trying not to fall off. So if you're afraid of heights, don't look down. Alright, fast forward to another area. So you'll see the light emanating from the graces. Those kind of give you a guide as to the direction that you're supposed to go next. But I highly recommend just spending a lot of time leveling up before continuing on to the next areas. Lots of beautiful castles and lots of tough enemies. You can die if you drop down too far. The horse can only take so much, so be careful about going over the side of cliffs. There will be enemies along some of these paths, so you want to be careful while you're exploring, especially if you don't know the area. So there's one of the NPCs from a quest item. You can't talk to them. Eventually, in your travels, you will get to be able to go to the round table. And this is an area where you cannot fight anyone, and you're going to have some individual NPCs here that will help you in the quest line, also do things for you. She will upgrade spirit ashes, he will upgrade your armor. Still don't have some of the areas in the castle or in the round table opened yet because I haven't progressed that far in the game. So this is not a complete parent guide, because I have not finished the game. But there are some things that you can do to, like I said, cut down on the gore, restrict matchmaking if that's needed. The matchmaking is a lot of fun as far as PvP type stuff. It can be frustrating, but it's fun. So get out there and enjoy it. They just added a new game mode with the Coliseum, I think in the last week. There's another individual running around. You can jump on the table if you want, which a lot of people do. Oh, and you can even break a chair. So with that, we're going to go back where we started. He's eyeballing me. This area here is extremely dangerous, but you get a lot of money off of these enemies or experience points, which you need to upgrade. I will usually sneak up behind them if I can, kind of watch their pattern. They're very slow, they're very hard to see because they're dark color. It's always raining. He's probably seen me. He hasn't. Come up behind him and backstab him. So that is with the blood and gore turned on, so that's as much as you're going to get off of the enemies when you kill them. These guys can take me out in 2 or 3 hits, depending on which one it is. Each one of them has a little bit different weapon. I think he's seen me. Yep. So block him. So he took a little bit of my health with that little swipe that he got in. You do have health potions. You can restore your health. You have a limited number of them. They are refilled every time you go back to a grace. And you can go to certain areas when you have boss fights and when you have fights with several enemies, not just when there's enemies one at a time. But you will see some areas will come up with a little symbol in the left-hand corner. It shows right now there's a symbol in the left-hand corner of the screen. And you can call your spirit ashes to help you with the enemies. So basically it's just like having a buddy along to help you take out the enemies. I didn't need you to do that, but thank you anyway. So he's really good on bosses and keeping the boss's attention so that you can actually study the movements a little bit and then get in there and get a couple of hits in on the bosses. So I primarily use him for boss fights, not so much fights around, just regular running around. But wanted to show him to you. Alright, that is the basics of Elden Ring. I said very frustrating in that it is a very difficult game. The enemies will hit you pretty hard and at times you'll be shocked at how quickly they can take you out. When I first started this game, I put it down and didn't play it for a while. I got really frustrated really quick. And my son actually put a video on his channel on the boss that made him quit Elden Ring. And it was the very first boss. And it was a joke. He's obviously still playing the game. But it was really difficult when he first started to get that first boss down. And so he put a funny video up. It's just a short. And yeah, shows you just how easily the boss can kill you. And I think he kicked him once and knocked him off the edge. And he fell to his death. So that's how quick it can happen. And it's frustrating. But the game is a lot of fun. It is visually beautiful. It deserved the Game of the Year award, in my opinion. It was really good. And one of the things that I really look at with games is how buggy they are. If you'll notice on my channel, I did put one episode of Saints Row, the new one, up on my channel. And after that episode, I decided I couldn't put any more episodes on. It was such a buggy game, almost to the point of being unplayable. So those kind of games I don't want on the channel. This one, the only reason it's not on the channel is because it's extremely difficult and I haven't figured it out all the way yet. So have fun with it, and I hope you enjoyed this little view into Elden Ring. There are a lot of guides out there to help you with the game. I have several that I like and that have helped me level up throughout the game. So hey, enjoy it. If you like this video or this type of video, let me know in the comments below. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're not already a subscriber. We are just doing Dragon Age right now, but we will be doing more games in the future. Thanks for watching and hope to see you soon.